I mean, I remember like before like the whole Me Too thing happened, we did this show called Famous Adjacent, and there was this scene where it was like, oh, you're meeting, and we had this like fake setup story, but it was very female girls meets Entourage before they made it, and so my character is like, oh yeah, you're going on the like it was like the Wahlberg Project, right? And we're like, yeah, I'm gonna go meet with the producer. And she's like, yeah, business doesn't happen like after hours. Like it's like between like 9 and 5 p.m. at their office. And
yes.
Maybe not for Harvey Weinstein, because it doesn't seem to matter if it was like at his office or, you know.
Oh my gosh.
I had a Harvey Weinstein story, and what was really interesting about Harvey, he was really charming. Like he was totally a bully. You know, he was very like alpha, and you could see he was really overcompensating. And if you've heard the trial, you know.
Oh, he has a small.
I guess.
Is he small?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like it's micro.
Oh.
In the news, they were talking about it. I haven't seen it, thank God.
Knock on wood, I'm pretty sure you're never going to see it at this point.
You know what I mean?
It is interesting to think of an alpha male with a small penis.
Yeah.
Because is that what drove him to be an alpha?
I think he had something happen bad.
Oh.
Like there was like a trauma.
Oh, I see.
Well, the first time I met OJ, the first time I met Weinstein.
Yeah, tell me.
So the first time I met him, it was actually, I snuck into a Weinstein party. It was the Oscars.
Wow.
And it was at, it was like in my 20s when I was just, you know, I would go to some of these parties I would get invited to. And then some of them I was just like, I need to sneak in. I need to like meet people. I need to figure out how to, you know, get in here and, you know, pitch my scripts or whatever. Like it was ridiculous.
I know
like,
those big dreams.
Yes.
Those dreams you're not ready for.
Oh God. So
I know them well.
Oh my God. So embarrassing. So somehow I sneak into the Soho House, like through the elevator, back door.
That's
and
hard.
Yeah. So
I know that place.
I mean, now I'm a member, but before I don't know, like I'm 26, 27. And there's Harvey, and, you know, he's got 2 women on his side, 2 young, beautiful women. And he's like, hey, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's Harvey Weinstein. And I didn't know all this. I didn't know anything. So I'm just sort of like kind of going along with the crew of like, I'm with them. And so then I kind of just follow him, and I just, you know, manage to just go with his crew. And so I get to go to this, you know, one of his big Oscar parties, like after parties. And there's Leo, you know, and there's Ryan Gosling. I'm like sort of like tapping, like I'm like trying to, you know, I'm tapping on his shoulder as I'm trying to get to wherever I'm getting to. I have a chat with Tarantino and Inglourious Bastard guy, Christoph Waltz, who I'm just like, oh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And I see my friend who worked in Inglourious Bastards and Sam Levine, and shout out to Sam. And he was like, I was like, oh my God, and so I chat with Harvey for a brief second. I'm like, hey, I'd love to have a meeting in your office. And he's like, yeah, sure. He's like, great, here's my number and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm telling Sam this. He's like, whatever you do, do not meet Harvey. And I was like, wait, why? And he's like, well, because he'll try to sleep with you. I'm like, every guy in Hollywood tries to sleep with you. That's the whole thing. Man, woman, doesn't fucking matter. I'm sure it happened to you all the time. You know? So it's like, and he's like, no, but I'll meet him in his office. He's like, it doesn't matter. He'll try to like, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, it's fine. It's something I can't handle. It's, you know, I'm used to this. Like,
Sure.
You know, I'm swimming with sharks all day long, you know?
You didn't understand the extent.
He was a giant killer megalodon.
Wow.
So,
with a really small penis.
So the second time I met OJ,
oh, you're doing a Chappelle
yeah,
reference.
Joey Chappelle, yeah,
Thanks. Yeah.
Chappelle reference. So I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, I'd love to meet you. I have this film that is looking for distribution. I starred in it, and it was a very like indie. I was playing an addict and a recovered addict, whatever. And so he's like, hey, like, let's meet at the Peninsula Hotel, the infamous Peninsula, right?
Oh my God.
So we get to the Peninsula, and he comes. So there's him with another 20-year-old, you know. So he's like, I'm waiting for like 20 minutes. I'm like down at the lobby. We're supposed to have just like lunch or drinks or whatever. It's the middle of the day, so I'm thinking like, this is fine, the business hours. And he comes barreling down, like just shit all over his shirt and all disheveled. And they just sort of, and he's like, oh, I don't know her. Like, I was like, okay. Well, no one said it, but now I'm curious. And he's like, ah. So then we're sitting down. It's so fucking bizarre. And I'm, giving him the pitch about this film and how excited we are. And we're looking for distribution. And he's like, so are you married? And I wore a fake ring just because I'm so used to it. So I was like, I wore a fake ring. And I did have a boyfriend at the time. And he's like, I'm just having problems in my marriage and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And so he's look, I don't normally do this, but I'm gonna watch your film. And and so I hand him like this is back when
DVDs?
there were still DVDs. There's still DVDs. And so I get the nicest email of my life. He's like, hey, we're not going to pick this up, but your performance in it was absolutely incredible. You blew me away, like blah, blah. I mean, he didn't say blew me away, but now I'm like, the operative word. No, that never happened, by the way.
I want you to blow me away.
So ultimately, nicest email of my life. I send this to my manager and she's like, oh, Harvey Weinstein. And I'm like, and I still haven't heard. I'm like, what? Well, this is the typical LA. So the third time I met OJ,
Oh my God.
I hit him up for tickets for it was like the Oscar party. And so so I always had a buffer. And so I brought my, so he was so professional and he was actually really nice at that second meeting. And so he's like, here, I have tickets for you. And he was meeting with another 20-year-old. And I brought my my manager's assistant and who's kind of like into PR. So I was like, oh, this is my PR lady. Like, and he's like, oh, great. And he's like, here you go. Like, have a great time. And he's like, sent me on my way. And I was like, wow, he's getting such a bad rep. He's wonderful. Like, what's the problem? Mm-hmm. Fourth time I met OJ. First time. So the last time, it's like a year later, and we have this show called Famous Adjacent about the underbelly of the industry of just pulling back the curtain. And, in one of the trailers, it was like, you fuck Ratner in the bathroom in the Soho House. You can get him to read the script, right? I mean, like, literally, we had these, like one of the characters is snorting coke off someone's dick. Anyway, it's that morning of the Golden Globes, and I just have I have a crazy intuition, and I was like, I need to bring my writing partner. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna bring, I don't tell him, I just bring my writing partner. So there is the assistant waiting down at the Peninsula Hotel, and I'm thinking we're gonna just meet for breakfast. No, we're not. She stares at my my writing partner, turns white. She's like, you brought her? Like, there's another? And I'm like, yeah, what's the problem? We're doing a pitch. And my voice goes up. And then so we go up the elevator. So she makes a bunch of calls. She's frantically typing, texting on her phone. Then she's like, okay, well, so she goes up to the room. We go into this giant suite of his, Peninsula Hotel. And there's this layout of like fit for a king of just like all the types of food and everything. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is some king shit, And so me and Christy are just sitting there looking at ourselves being just like, this is bad. We're getting a bad feeling, and all like the assistants are sort of like cleaning things up and like feeling really frantic and really like scared of what's going to happen. And they're like, oh God, oh no. Like something bad is going to happen. And then they just like leave and like Harvey Weinstein comes barreling in with shit all over his shirt, like in sweatpants, and like just looks like he's coming in from Hookers and Blow. And I'm just like, oh, damn. And he's like, hello, nice to meet you. He literally grabs Christy by both hands, shoves her into a fucking elevator. He's like, please come with me, like, blah, 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 blah. Like pushes her, and I like literally stare at her, and we have this telepathic conversation, and she's like, are you okay? I'm like, and I'm like telepathically, like, if I'm not down in like 2 minutes, like call the police. So like we're winking, and she's like, I got you, girl, I got you. I'm like, I can handle it. Look, I can handle animals, like big animals. I can do it. I've had encounters with giant mountain lions. It's fine. So he's like, Susie, you come with me. How could you do that? How could you embarrass me like that? Brings me back. There's fucking Michael J. Fox. He's like, hey, Harvey, like, as he's passing by, I'm like, what is happening? As I'm getting just completely annihilated by this guy, just, verbally. He brings me into his room, and he's like, I can't believe you do this, and just keeps just showering me with just insults and whatever. And I'm just like, this is nothing. I was like, you don't know where I was like, I'm come from Miami, bitch. So anyway, so he's just like hurling these insults, and then he's like, but here's the thing, I do want to make this happen. You help me, I help you. And I was like, oh, don't you know? I suddenly was like, oh, I just want to work with you. And I just kept repeating that over and over. I'm just like, I just want to work with you. You just do inspiring films and I just want to work with you. For literally, we were just in the standstill of like, oh, you help me, I help you, and trying to like grab me. And I'm like, no, you stay here, I stay here. And so we were in this standstill for just repeating whatever our phrases were. And I just kept very aggressively repeating them. And then there was a moment he's like, well, if I leave now, like nothing will happen and it's all going away. And I was like, look, I just got out of a relationship. He's like, oh, come here. So he tries to grab me and I'm like, no. Because I was like, I will bite your fucking face off. Like maybe I'll die, but you're not getting out of this like without some scars. So like, you know, I'm a feral. So then he was like, you know, I'm like, no, you stay here. I just kept repeating that phrase. I just want to work with you. I just want to work with you. And he's like, he gets up and he's like, never contact me again, but I will set you up a meeting with my VP. And then he left. And then I was like, I go downstairs. She's like, Christy was like, are you all right? And I was like, yeah, hopefully we're not blacklisted. And so like, that was my Harvey Weinstein story. Sorry.
Thank God you're strong.
I think it's the athlete, and I think I had gone.
Not physically. No, I'm serious. Thank God you're strong mentally.
No, totally. But it's the athlete in me, and I've dealt with so many crazy things. Like after I was in the music industry, and that's nothing. It's nothing.
Ditties. They're everywhere. Clive, what's his name?
Clive. Not Clive. Clive Davis.
Clive Davis. I've heard that he's just a dreadful, dreadful human. I've always thought that about the music industry. I'm like, I'm so grateful to be in the industry of tigers that I'm in, rather than that like.
It's more corporate.
Music.
It's the mafia. It's literally run by the mafia. Like there's a mafia mentality. I remember there was a moment where I could have gotten in front of Diddy, and me and my manager, we looked at Diddy and we went, he chews people up and spits them out. And we both went hard.
But at least he lubes them well beforehand.
He does. He really does.
A lot of baby oil.
Oh God.
He's really good at that.
Just all you see in his fridge is his baby oil.
But also, you know.